All right, welcome back. So this will be maybe a little shorter episode. We'll see. But I did want to come back. So we're here in make sure I didn't mess something up here with the recording. No, it doesn't look like I did. Yeah, we're back here at Winding Rivulet. Still don't have a map, but we're going to be 10 clip right here in this same spot. We were kind of trying this last time, except now we're actually trying it at nighttime, and we have slightly more appropriate hooks. We still don't have the like really small hooks for rough and stuff, but it's nighttime, so we should catch less rough. And I am using red worms over here. So we've got 18 hooks with red worms, 20 hooks with worms. And is there anything we can do with this? We've got size 20, put regular worm on. And since it's overnight, maybe we could try to like drag it on the bottom. I don't know how deep it is right here in front of us. We can just see if there's anything else we can catch right here in front of us on we kind of want to drag it on the bottom because it'll slow it down. If it's too high up in the water like this, it drifts so quickly. Since at night we're not gonna have quite the good bite rate, it might be worth trying to drag it. I need to adjust the depth again, it looks like. All right, so this is 1.3 meters. Let's see if that touches bottom. It may be deeper right here than I realize. Yeah, that's still not touching bottom, is it? There is still that rough order. So, I mean, here's my hope is that we'll catch a couple rough overnight, be able to fulfill that rough cafe order if it's still available that we saw last time at the end of the last episode. And then you can see it bouncing on the bottom now. And then once it's morning, before we wrap this episode up, we'll try to catch a few more bleak and maybe start pressing towards level 8 at least. I don't know if we'll get there, but start pressing towards it. All right, so maybe try 1.7. Yeah, so I think one or both of these lines have something on there. Yeah, that's a nice rough. Over 100 grams. We'll take that for sure. And clearly we found the bottom. So remember, that was on red worms. Okay. Donnet's rough on regular worm. That's a rare fish. Always possible to get it, but still kind of surprises you when you do. So this is resting on the bottom, but it's also a little close. Let's see if we cast it a little farther out, if it's still on the bottom like that. Yeah. So you see how it's sideways, so it should slow it down. And we just kind of let it sit there, and maybe we'll eventually get an obvious nibble or something. We may not, but thought it might be worth trying since we know there's rough and small fish feeding on the bottom here at night. We can give this a try as well. All right, there's already a fish on, looks like this one. There's a rough. Yeah, we're actually getting a pretty good nibble here on the on the float. It's going to be hard to tell when it's a bite though, because of the way the float is, but we'll see. I think I pulled it too soon. Let's let it settle again and see if it's still jerking for the nibble, but no, I probably messed the nibble up. Is that another white bream? Yeah, pretty nice size white bream. You kind of tell that red worm, a little better active bite rate than regular worm. We just don't have that many yet, so. Hey, I think we actually, I was just about to give up. Oh my goodness. I, I'm not sure I've ever caught a larger Donich Ruff on float, even on my main account. But it's for a lack of trying. I just literally never do that. But that is pretty crazy. That's pretty wild. It's 3:43. I think instead of throwing this back in, I'm gonna just get it set up since it won't be long till we're fishing for bleak. But look at our experience bar. Like those two Donich Ruff, basically guaranteed we're gonna hit level 8. I think just with a few bleak, we'll get it done. This has really slowed down though, so it may not feel like it to you because I paused the recording a couple times. But you know, the only thing that came in on the feeder, just did so at a pretty slow rate. I mean, you know, we got a couple of rough, so if that cafe is still active, yeah, like we might be okay on that. But overall, it's been pretty slow. Another rough. Might be a little small for the cafe size, but just in case, that's fine. Really curious what this is because it nibbled for so long. Well, there's a giant nace, and that does hit level 8, which means we got sweet dough. The other thing that means is that we technically can use size 22 hooks. Which should allow us to lean into rough a little bit more. Some of the smaller fish. That's also now what we'll use for bleak. That will definitely help, or it should, with the bleak bite rate. Wow. I'm actually just kind of impressed with this spot. We have caught such a wide variety of fish. Now, I'm not sure if during the daytime it would be as like that was a weekly record on that Donitz for Telly. I'm not sure if during the daytime it would be as interesting. We saw a lot of perch. If you're using anything that's got worm to it, then it might be hard to avoid the small perch. But nighttime, that spot is very intriguing. And it doesn't take but a couple of Donitz Rough, as you saw, to even justify a little bit of a slower bite rate. And we only have 2 rods. I mean, I think this is going to be a much better experience if you have a third feeder rod. That will make the bite rate feel so much different. So, I mean, I think the last thing to do in this like shortened, abbreviated episode is just, let's just see if we can catch a couple bleak. It already feels like we've got a better bite rate with this size hook, doesn't it? compared to last episode. This really should just be episode 2.5, I think. Unless I end up standing here fishing, float fishing longer than I think I will. Which, one thing we want to, probably worth getting in the habit of doing, is still trying our feeder rods out at different places. Even if they do catch perch, if we're using regular worm, wait, was that number 2? It was. Even if we're using regular worm, it's still, I think, gonna be worth it if we get longest cast of 12 meters. If we get a bite rate at all, because we're still leveling up our bottom fishing. So even though it might disrupt the float fishing a teeny bit, we definitely want to be leveling up that bottom fishing whenever we can and catching a few perch or here or there if they're active here. Now they may not be, but we've got small hooks on, so we could also get, you know, other small fish could come in as well. Ooh, right at the last second. I was about to pull it up. All right, there's a bleak. What kind of nibble do we have going on here? Is a little perch, but that's okay. I wasn't sure we were going to get that one. Got to it in time. Wow, that was a big pull. I wonder if that's another perch. Yeah, so far we're still hitting the bleak, leveling up the float fishing. Oops. But we're also getting some nibbles. Let's see what this is. Is this going to be perch or is this something else small? No, this looks like a little rough or something, doesn't it? Yeah. Now that's ideal. Could have these here and occasionally get something like that. That's amazing. Another little bleak. Unfortunately, these so far have been smaller bleak. You know, we did go to a smaller size hook, but I still think 22, 24, it's still the more ideal bleak size hook. It may just be a time of day thing or just random, but I want to keep an eye on that float because if it, oops, hit the wrong number. Oh, we still got it. It's amazing. See if we can get this in. This is definitely a bigger fish. Oh, looks like a chub. First chub we've seen, maybe? 626 gram chub. Oh, there went the bleak. And we still got it. Oh, it's not a bleak. Perch. Wouldn't you know it? You don't want it that close. It's hard to max cast with these short little telesticks. Yeah, it's pretty Pretty fun having the bottom feeders out as well. That's another bite there. Now we got to watch the float. There's another nace. Impressive. Ah, we missed the hook. But with these cheap hooks, we might have missed it no matter what. So remember, we got these size 22 hooks. Ooh, it's a wide-eye bream. Man, everything is down here in this little corner right now. Remember, we got these size 22 hooks from Mosquito. At least currently, they're in stock at Mosquito. 24s are out of stock, and these 22s are even out of stock here. But at Mosquito, we were able to get them, which is so nice if you're trying to fish for the small fish. And you see that we stopped trying to reel in the feeder as soon as we got a nibble on the float, because we know that the feeder has this auto hooking. It's almost always going to keep the fish on the line. But with the float, you got to hit it pretty quick. Oh, we might miss it. Yeah, we missed it. Might get another nibble though. I don't know if it fully reset there. Yeah. So it's 8:36 in the morning. Oh, there's a marker. Good. It's giving it a couple more minutes here because sometimes like 8 to 9 a.m. might see some of the better bleak come in. Too bad. That was close. $54 that's nice. The one bait besides fly, obviously if you have fly here, it probably will do even better with bleak, but castor is another bait. We just don't have any yet, and have been so silver starved we haven't either purchased casters or one of the bait boxes that would include casters. So that's a nice little bleak, 46 gram. So with this starter telestick, we're pretty much casting about 90 to 95% is where we're catching these bleak at. Record maximum number of fish caught for one day. So people have pretty much confirmed, and the more I thought about it, I do think that I agree with their opinion or their memory of this. But what we want to do is from level 10 to level 11, we want to try to do spin fishing, because when you hit level 11 is when you get the larger gift, and it's just so much more valuable to get the one that you get if you hit level 11 while spin fishing. It's kind of a fun setup, I think, that to use at actually Belaya. So I've just got to remember that. Like, we're already level 8, so in 2 levels we need to be spin fishing, I guess, here at Winding, because you can't go to Belaya yet, right? Belaya is level 12, just like Old Berg. So we need to come, get a spinnerbait, figure out what's working, and just grind out that level 10 to 11 spin fishing here at Winding. Unless we want to like troll Mosquito, which is always just a funny, rarely super effective, but kind of a funny thing to do. All right, so we caught some fish today. I guess the main thing we're hoping is that rough cafe order is still up. Even though Donnett's rough are a really rare fish to catch and worth decent XP, They don't pay great on silver, so this isn't going to be like the best net ever, but it'll be okay. Oh, that rough order is still good, and it's for small ones. Look at this. We can use 2 non-markers and get 7.5 silver off of fish that would have basically been worth nothing. 1 more wide-eye bream, by the way, and you're sitting pretty. There is a pond here where you could go for this crucian carp order if you wanted. Same with the gibble carp. I would say overall we're a little unlucky on the cafe orders we've seen at Winding so far, but they'll come and go. Let's look at price here. Yeah, so the bigger Donich Ruff's only worth 6.2. But all of these fish are going to add up. The Nace, the Bleak, the Donich Ruff, the Ruff. I mean, that's going to be 48 Quicksilver. Quicksilver? So now we have 58 silver, which means, and I'm not going to do anything in this little smaller episode, but next time we fish, we have some options. We could get a 3rd feeder rod, because boy does that help for those evenings when you're trying to go for cafe orders at nighttime. You want that 3rd feeder rod. So just getting a basic 3rd Sorrento, so cheap for the amount of, I guess, you know, really going for specific orders and types of fish at night it allows you to go for. And there's no other like equipment we really need other than starting to save up for the basic bottom kit, which we'll look at that eventually. So that may be what we do. The other option, because we kind of have the perfect amount of silver to pretty much get what we would need there, but the other option would be, do we want to get a shovel? Do we want to start basics cooking and that kind of stuff and start collecting bait and all that? We probably do, but I think the way I typically go, I would lean getting the 3rd one of these first. So we'll see though. We've got some time to think it over. But as always, thanks for watching. This will be a little shorter part 2 of episode 2. And we'll get this one uploaded as well. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Tight lines, everybody.